another edition of Kevin Kinkle's Uplift Yourself podcast. And a new extension to the Uplift Yourself podcast is the Let's Talk About It with Kevin Kinkle. I'm going to be the same person over both of these different subtitles or subheadings, the Uplift Yourself podcast and Let's Talk About It, because I want to stay focused on the come ups, mission statement or what I stand for on there, and I don't want it to be confused with the segments where I'm just basically talking about it and spreading information. Some may say that it's gossip, but it is something that I've been wanting to do, and it's been on my heart since college. I was a communications major in William Patterson University, and I do have a knack for the trending topics, getting the information out on them, letting you guys hear my take on it, and also getting your take. I like the conversations. I like communication. That's why it's my major, but not just talking about my point of view and how I see things, but getting your perspective and point of view also. Not to go too deep into it, because we do have a show that I want to stay on my time constraints for. We are going to revisit the udoka situation. And when I first heard about this scandal, hands in heavy quotes when I say scandal, which was this past Monday, I immediately got emotional about it because I found out that a lifelong heartthrob of mine, Nia Long, was cheated on. And I didn't look at the aspect as caring. The people in these situations are humans. This has affected many people in a wide array of ways. And I wanted to dig in a little deeper. This is a trending topic. It's one of the most talked about topics right now. I took it upon myself to do my due diligence of getting the receipts and finding the information out about this topic and or situation. And in the future, when I have a show like this, I would be requesting my callers, my fans, my listeners to call in so we could talk about it. The basis of this, Coach Ime Udoka, coach of the basketball Celtics. 1 year he's a coach. Had a very successful year. In his first year coaching, they made it to the championship. He's came under the tutelage of a prosperous NBA coach. Some may know the name Greg Popovich. Led the San Antonio's dynasty to lots of championships. They were above a 500 record for about 15 to 20 years. They had the likes of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, David Robinson, Kawhi Leonard, and players like that. Greg Popovich was known to have players who knew how to work in a system. They weren't the super duper megastar. They always had a calm demeanor, kind of like Ime Udoka. He wasn't a super duper star. He was more known for his defense, but he played in the NBA for many years. He's lived that lifestyle. He got under Greg Popovich, and he was a good coach for this year. I want to reiterate that they're all humans that are in this situation. I don't condone cheating. They weren't married, but they were in a relationship. From my studies, I've seen that Udoka and the Boston Celtics knew about this since July. They called in private investigators to investigate the whole situation just to see how bad that it was. Nia Long just found out about this the same time that we did, and she even moved into the area maybe about a week or two ago, or was looking at houses in the area because she planned on living with her boo-boo over here in Boston. He was going to be the coach there for a while. Seeing they just made it to the championship, he kind of solidified himself with the job. And this comes up. So a lot of people are up in arms because of everything that happened and the way that it went on. When this first happened, the story came out that Udoka cheated on Nia Long. Both sides were consensual. For some reason, his name is being plastered out here, and the female's name is not. Allegedly, her name is Kathleen Lynch, and Patrick Lynch is her husband, and he is actually the vice president of operations for the Boston Celtics. So he's kind of got like a big job with Boston Celtics. He's really up there, and I guess it was really ballsy of Udoka to decide to cheat with her. Like I said, his name's getting smeared around. I had to do a little bit of homework to find out her name. He allegedly found out that his wife was cheating with Ime Udoka through, get this, y'all, a ring. It was a conversation going on, and the husband overheard the conversation over the Ring doorbell, which led to, I guess, said investigation, which would lead me to believe that at first their relationship was consensual. Then the husband found out through this ring that there was cheating going on. He approached the wife and told her that this relationship has to stop. And from what we, I guess, as the audience can gather, or allegedly, Ime didn't want it to stop, and he pressed her or pursued her after that this was put out there and was said to him that, we can't do this anymore. So I believe the Boston Celtics, with this year's suspension that they gave him, was giving him time to step down. The difference with coaches and players, if a player decides to step down, I believe there's still negotiations where he can get paid based upon his contract. With a coach, he's not going to get his money from his contract unless he gets fired. So if he steps down, he's going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. He doesn't have a player's salary, but I'm pretty sure it's 3, 4, maybe 5, maybe more $1 million that he'd be leaving on the table if he just said, you know what, this stuff is too much. It's going to mess up my family. It's going to mess up my name. I'm just going to quit. And that's how things go. Like, we have to look at it like this. This is a job. We all have worked in corporate, or we just worked in jobs where you have to go to sexual harassment seminars. You go with the whole crew. You go with everybody who's working there, so you guys know the rules. A lot of these rules stem from, we don't want you to have any relationship with anybody you work with, because this is what can happen. You could start dealing with somebody, and then you could decide you don't want to deal with them anymore, and they still want to deal with you. So there's problems at the job. You could deal with somebody, and then you could stop, and then you could be dealing with somebody else, and jealousy could rise. And then we don't know who's going to say what, or what type of foul play is going to be brought into this. So jobs usually protect themselves from happening by having the sexual harassment seminar and things like that. So his punishment could have just stemmed from the rules of the corporate job. Look, if you deal with somebody and we find out, we're suspending you, point blank, period. Now, some may say that the suspension for a year was kind of a lot. Matt Barnes has said it was a lot. Stephen A. Smith also said it was a lot. Matt Barnes actually had to recant his statement. Matt Barnes is an ex-professional basketball player. He has lots of pull in the league, and he has his own podcast called All the Smoke with Steven Jackson, they have a lot of pull. So from what he said was the information that he found out after digging a little deeper, instead of just speaking off emotions like a lot of us did when the story first came out, when he got into the root of the problem and seen what we haven't seen, he said the problem is a lot deeper than we know, and his suspension for the whole year is justified. Stephen A. Smith got into Malika Andrews, and Malika Andrews' whole thing was she did not want to see the woman getting blamed. And Stephen A. Smith was just like, I just want to see her name put out there like Ime's name is being put out there. So it's not being put out there. And with these sports shows like All the Smoke, or not even All the Smoke, but Stephen A. Smith and his show, Shannon Sharp, and his show with Skip Bayless, what I watch on the regular when I wake up. I'm not at work right now. I'm still going through my rehab process, so that's one of the things that I do. I watch that to get up on my sports, to see what's going on, and to see what national stories these guys are giving their opinions about, seeing that's a work field that I am going to get into. Amen? So what he was saying was, and so we understood where he was coming from. We understood where Malika was coming through. These shows, they have a break on the weekend. They do a lot of work with football. They're at the games. They might be taking a little break, but Monday they're going to be back on. It's going to be interesting to see what Stephen A. Smith says tomorrow or in a couple of hours. It's 3:30 in the morning. Do a lot of my work at nighttime. I get a lot of work done then. But it's hurtful for the Celtics. It messes up the locker room chemistry dynamic. They have to find another coach. They just made it to the championship. They were a young team that's been through a lot of turmoil, so them just getting there is a big plus for them. And now it's kind of looking like they took a couple of steps back. As far as things to take away from this, as we're going into the future, people would say, don't shit where you eat. Don't have relationships with people at the job, because it can lead to situations like this. And you could be risking everything that you worked for this situation. People get cheated on. That's not Nia Long's fault. This guy decided that he wanted to cheat. He stepped out of his relationship. He did the same thing with the wife. They both cheated. I think we get caught up in blaming the set person for cheating because they weren't doing X, Y, and Z, and everybody gets cheated on. I seen a funny post on Facebook where somebody was like, all of y'all are talking about Nia Long, but here's a whole list of people that got cheated. And there's Beyonce, Chloe, Ciara, the chicks in the DMX songs. He's like, me, I met her at an ice cream party. It was funny. All Your Friends was one of the names on the list. So just to tap a little fun or poke a little fun at it, but it's the man's fault that he cheated. If a female steps out, that's her fault. She cheated. Doesn't have to deal with said person. They have the right to do whatever they feel as far as their relationship is concerned. We as a whole need to mind our business. But again, it's social media, and this is the stuff that we live for. When things like this happen with this type of atmosphere that we live at, it's people get paid for this. This is our news sources, and our ways to get news is a little different. And there's a supply and demand, and people are supplying the need. People are giving the demand. Some people are more entertaining than others, but when these stories hit like this, there's an opportunity, if your hustle is right, that there's a bag out there for you. I pray for the best for them. Like I said, one of my lessons, or one of the things I would like to teach people, young people, watch where you work at. And having these relationships can enter into problems. It's tough emotionally. Sometimes you're with these people all day. Sometimes you're with people at work more than you're with people who aren't at work, your family. But you work real hard to get to a certain point in your career. You don't want something like this to mess it up. You'd rather it be something else. And that's pretty much about it. We're going to find more information about this later. Udoka is going to be suspended for the year, more than likely when the year's over, after the suspension from Boston, maybe even early. I'm not even sure how that's going to go. Another team is going to pick him up. So in that regard, he's going to be okay. It seems to me that they're sweeping this pretty much under the rug with not putting Kathleen's name out here, allegedly, or even Patrick, the husband. Another thing a lot of people were bringing up was with Brett Favre's situation, the slander of the black men in the media, whether it be sports or not. The situation with Brett Favre, where he stole millions of dollars from the welfare system in Mississippi, who's the poorest state in the country, going through